Good morning, football fans. We are excited today at Tri-State Football Weekly. Once again, James Ernest and Mike Goodpaster. We are ready to tell you all about UC and Miami. Coach, what have the Bearcats been up to?
Well, the Bearcats have been up to beating the number 14th team in the country, James, the Iowa State Cyclones. And the sad thing is this: if they don't sell out the Nebraska game, and that's played at Nippert, I think right now the Bearcats are ranked at the top 20, maybe even the top 15, and we'd be talking about a possible college playoff spot. So I know it's a little early to say that, and wins over Iowa State and Kansas don't really make you Ohio State. But this was a solid win, and this is a game where they ran for 200 yards on the ground, and they dominated the first half. They were up 31-7. They got the penalty towards the end of the first half, which allowed Iowa State to get back in the game. Rocco Beck played really well for Iowa State. I think it was 30 for 48 with a couple touchdowns. But the thing I took away from this was Brendan Sorsby again. He was 13 for 25, two touchdowns. Walker, I think, had almost 90 rushing yards in the first half. And this was a team that I know Scott Satterfield takes a lot of crap. But these last two games, James, has got to get a little bit of the heat off of him.
I agree with you. I feel like this is probably the best win that he's had in his time at UC. And yeah, it really definitely gives you a different feel, a different opinion about him after consecutive wins like this.
Well, I don't know that it gives me a better feel yet because still we're trying to overcome a couple bad years with a few good games. But this was a game that I think was 4 years in the making. The last time UC beat a ranked team was Houston 4 years ago. They were number 16 at the time. That won our American Conference Championship game. A lot has changed since then. You've got a new conference. You're in the Big 12. And right now, James, you're sitting on top of the Big 12. I mean, this is huge for the Bearcats. And when you look at it, probably their toughest game left, they've got to go to TCU. But there's a lot of winnable games here. And Tawee Walker, I think he was one of the reasons why UC ranks top 10 in yards per play in the FBS. And he averaged 7.6 yards per carry. The Bearcats totaled 260 rushing yards with three touchdowns. And then, of course, you had Evan Pryor, who wasn't to be outdone because he actually ran for more than Walker did. It's just his had to be more in the second half than I think in the first half. But Pryor produced 111 yards and two touchdowns on just 10 attempts. If you could run the football like that, you could beat anybody, James.
I agree with you 100%. I think it was nice to see the switch this week where it's typically Walker scoring the touchdowns, but this week Pryor was the one scoring the touchdowns.
Yeah, and like I said, Brendan Sorsby again, 13 to 25, 214, two touchdowns, and he delivered crucial throws to prove he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country right now. Now, I don't think he's the dude that's going to play in the NFL, but as a college quarterback, he's very good, and his deep ball placement has been incredible this season, especially on Saturday. When Iowa State posed a threat of a comeback in the middle of the fourth quarter, the second-year Bearcat starter dusted off one of his top skills to seal the contest. He hit Caleb Goody in stride for an 82-yard touchdown. And the verticality that Sorsby brings to this offense and their ability to run the ball makes this a really dangerous team from here going forward, James.
The thing I really like is the role Royer played in the game, how he was able to score the touchdown and how he was very impactful, getting more catches. Plus, his blocking on a lot of the running plays, his ability to block down the field was huge.
Yeah, the only takeaway I would take from this game that causes me any concern was penalties were nearly the difference between a signature win and a heartbreaking loss in week 5 against Kansas. And in that game, Cincinnati saw not one, not two, not three, but four touchdowns wiped off the board due to flags. And, three of those drives ended up in field goals. So that's a 12-point difference on the board. And that penalty problem persisted against Iowa State. In the second Big 12 matchup this season, they were flagged 13 times for 128 yards, and countless big plays were wiped off the board as a result as well. And that's something that's going to have to get cleaned up if this team wants to make a run at a Big 12 championship.
I agree with you 100%. Yeah, discipline is a huge factor in football, as you know, as a coach. And I think Yeah, I think that it is concerning.
Yeah, it is concerning. But when we look at the team stats for this game, I mean, pretty even game. I mean, Iowa State threw for 100 more yards. UC ran for 100 more yards. But the thing that impresses me is UC's yards per play, 8.0 yards per play. Iowa State 5.4. It still has to be a little bit concerning. Iowa State racked up 465 yards, but UC racked up 474. The penalties were 13-8. The fumbles lost. UC had a fumble. That was the only turnover here. Time of possession was won by Iowa State. But overall, this is a huge win for UC. Now, I'm not one of these guys that really thinks Iowa State was the 14th best team in the country, but I do think they're somewhere in between 20 and 30. I think this is a good football team. UC got a huge win. And next up, James, we revisit one of UC's big wins last year where they upset Central Florida at Central Florida. I think it was 19-13. And there's a big game coming up this weekend at Nippert again against Central Florida. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like our odds in this game. I was going to say I feel that UC is doing quite well, and Central Florida really hasn't inspired any confidence in anyone this year. They are 3-2. They've the teams that they've beat have not been very impressive. The Jacksonville State, North Carolina A&T. The other day I said AT&T, which I thought was funny, but probably was not. North Carolina with Belichick really hasn't done anything this year, and then they've lost to both the Kansas and Kansas State, which aren't bad teams, but it just really doesn't inspire confidence in UCF. I feel that UC, I like their odds in this game.
Yeah, the only thing you got to worry about there is you're coming off a big road win, a big home win. How do you react to that? UCF, the big problem here is they had a good team last year, but they've got a new starter at quarterback, new wide receivers, new tight end. And I think that's the defining point of this game. I think the Knights will have to contend with the Bearcats on the offensive end. And I don't think that UCF can score enough points to keep up with the Bearcats. I look for the Bearcats basically to grind this game out, pull away in the second half, and win it by a comfortable couple touchdowns at least.
I agree.
And that's really going to get the heat off your guy, Scott Satterfield. I know you were the only guy that defended him.
So I agree with you. I feel UCF, their strong point is their running game. And with our ability to get ahead, I don't really feel that'll be a factor in the game.
Well, and I think that's the big thing. Who scores first? Because UC play with the lead is very dangerous because of the way they throw the ball. If they're playing from behind against UCF, then maybe Sorsby makes a mistake in a passing game or something. I just don't see how Central Florida wins this game. But there's been a couple games over the last 2 weeks that I saw no way somebody could win a game, and they ended up winning it. All right, next up, we got Miami. Undefeated in the MAC now, as you said before we came on the air. All right, and this was a tale of two games, their win over Northern Illinois. Miami overcame it a 14-0 deficit by shutting out the Huskies for the final three quarters. Now, the halftime adjustments, the in-game adjustments, the tenacity of this defense after surrendering two scores in the first quarter. Miami's defense held the Huskies to just 84 yards of offense on their final 39 plays, a little over 2 yards per play. On special teams, you had a block punt for a safety by Jermaine Aggie in the third quarter that gave the Redhawks their first lead of the game. This followed a block punt for a touchdown in the previous week, indicating a really good special teams unit here. And Daquan Finn looks like he's back. The seventh year quarterback returned from injury to lead the offense. He threw for 170 yards and a touchdown while also adding 90 yards on the ground. His return provided, a significant spark for this team. I think we saw the backups are usable here, but there's a big difference when Finn's in. And, as the commentators noted when I watched the game, the win showed Miami's pattern of starting slow, but being able to turn it on, especially in conference play, which is a trend we've seen the past few seasons, James.
I agree with you. It has been, tough early on for them, but then again, they play such tough non-conference schedules that shoot, it's. I mean, gosh, they play some of the better teams in the country when it comes to non-conference, other than the Lindenwood. Um, but yeah, I feel that their starting early is an issue, and then like you said, with him being a seventh year senior, and then last year with Brett, I think they're kind of inspired. Miami's inspired by the movie The Senior. Have you heard about that one yet?
I've heard about that movie, but yeah, because that's
It's actually
why.
really good. I think
Have
you.
you seen the movie?
Oh yeah, I've seen it. Loved it. It was great.
All right. Next up for the Miami, almost said Hurricanes, for the Miami Redhawks will be a date with the Akron Zips. That should be a titanic struggle, James, that I'm sure you're looking forward to.
I am. I love going to MAC action. They are going to be, yeah, shoot. I like the Miami's odds. Miami or Akron is 2-4 currently. They really haven't beat anybody. I mean, they lost to Wyoming 0-10. They lost to Nebraska 0-68. So they are not showing a strong offense at all. They lost to UAB, but they actually did better because they scored 28 points in that game. And then they did great against a couple,
Hey, they
you know,
beat Duquesne, but Toledo crushed them 45-3.
yes, they did.
So
So, yeah, like
that
I
could be an
said,
issue.
I feel that, yeah, Miami definitely should be the odds on favorite to win this game.
And they are favored by 10 points. So the question is, can they cover the 10? And I mean, when you look at it, the Zips looked pretty good last weekend against the Chippewas of Central Michigan. They notched 417 yards, 6 yards per play, 20 first downs. They were 9 of 15 on third downs. The defense posted a 4 of 12 success rate on third downs, but did give up 238 rushing yards as well. Now, it was a nice bounce back game for them following that 45-3 loss to Toledo on September 27th. And it was also Akron's third time scoring 28 or more points in the last 4 games. As for Miami, they handled Northern Illinois pretty well. The defense had a couple of takeaways alongside the 220 yards, 4.3 yards per play they gave up. They gave up 4 of 14 on third down conversions. So when you look at this game, I think it could turn into a high scoring affair for these two teams. The 10-point spread worries me a little bit, but when you look at what Akron's done this year against the level of competition they've played, I will take Miami. I think this is a game that is tight at halftime, and Miami pulls away to win this game somewhere in the 27-13 range.
I agree with you 100%. I definitely like Miami's odds. And I agree with what you just said there, that they should be able to cover the spread of the 10 points. Yeah, I mean, Miami is doing much better this second half of the season. Coach Martin, like you said in the previous game, really made some great adjustments versus Toledo, or not Toledo, Northern Illinois, and really changed the game in the second half last week.
Yeah, and if we look back at this, talking about UC, we'll swing back to Cincinnati since we're done with Miami. You've got Central Florida at home. You go to Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has struggled this year. You're going to host Baylor. Baylor's a good team, but it's at Nippert. You go to Utah. Utah's a good team. Hard to play at Utah, but we did watch Texas Tech smack Utah pretty good there. Arizona at home. BYU is ranked 18th, comes to Nippert. And then Cincinnati plays TCU. So I think this. I think there's a possibility here that the Cincinnati Bearcats could end up in the Big 12 championship game.
That would be phenomenal. I mean, definitely that will change the way people feel about Satterfield, and hopefully allow him to get some good momentum and get some great recruits.
Yeah, because TCU was really good against Bill Belichick, but nah. And
Yeah,
they also beat SMU. So TCU to me is the game that probably scares me the most because you got to play it there. But I think this Bearcats team, I can't believe I'm saying this, is as good as anybody in the Big 12. And I really wish they'd had Nebraska at Nippert to start the season.
exactly. It definitely would have changed the way people feel about them. Like you said, the ratings would be a lot higher at this point. Instead of just on the outside, they would definitely be on the inside of it. Probably what, about 18 to 20, I would think.
I think 15 to 20. You might even get a 15th there because Nebraska hasn't been terrible since that win. So that's the thing that sucks about that. And I still don't understand why it was done, but I am going to get off of it right now. And I'm never bringing it up again, at least until next week.
Well, I'm looking forward to this week because I'm looking forward to being at that UCF game. Unfortunately, last week I was not able to make it to the game, which was a huge game, that Iowa State game.
And you got arrested charging the field after the game, anyways.
Oh, well, the good news is where I am, I'm already on the field. I want to say it was UCF the last time it happened when they did run onto the field. And yeah, it was just so neat to see how stupid people are, because instead of walking down the stairs,
go to Walmart and see that, James.
That's true, but they have stairs there. You see, because that's how the band runs on the field every game. And instead of waiting in line to run down the stairs onto the field, the knuckleheads were jumping over the barricades, and a couple people actually broke their freaking ankles.
Oh, they deserve that for being stupid.
Exactly. Yeah, because there would be no way to get on the field. I kind of get jumping over, not that I would do it, but I would get it. But they're literally probably 20 sets of stairs that take you directly onto the field.
Well, maybe they were liquored up. You never know.
Oh, definitely they were. Yeah, I imagine. But yeah, definitely it's been another great week of UC sports, Miami sports as well. So for Tri-State Football Weekly, it's been James Ernest and Mike Goodpater, and thank you for joining.